Hello and welcome back to The Heap. This is Dish Shelved with Adam White. Today we're going to be talking about Open Season by C.J. Box. It's the first of the Joe Pickett novels. Joe Pickett is a game warden in Wyoming, and this is what it says about it here. Joe Pickett is the new game warden in 12 Sleep, Wyoming, a town where nearly everyone hunts, and the game warden, especially one like Joe, who won't take bribes or look the other way, is always far from popular. When Joe finds a local hunting outfitter dead, splayed out on a woodpile behind his state-owned home, he takes it personally and thrusts himself into a mystery that threatens the life and the family he loves. That's pretty good, simple description of it. Um, he is not, your dirty Harry type of law official. He comes across, especially at the beginning, as almost inept. Uh, he's not the best shot in the world with his gun. He falls for things a little too easily. Um, he just kind of has people walk all over him in some ways. Uh, the other characters in the book, his family is well thought out. He's got a very strong wife, Mary Beth, and he uh, he has two kids, and his wife is pregnant, and he deals with the former game warden who was his mentor of sorts, and another game warden from an adjoining district who's running for sheriff, and the current sheriff is another main character in the book. There's also a bunch of hunters and uh, outfitters, I guess they're called. This the reason I read this to begin with was I heard about it on BookTube, and everything I saw was really positive about this series because there's like something like 22 of these books, which I had no idea. I'd never heard of them, and because I can't obviously keep up with everything, but he he has like 22 of these books about Joe Pickett, and there's a TV series too, which consequently I can't get because it's on a channel not available in my area, or I might have watched it and checked it out. Uh, However, I heard positive things about this, and so I thought I'd read it, even though it was a little bit out of my usual zone of reading, because it deals with game warden and hunting and outdoors and all sorts of things that I'm not real big on. I'm more of an indoorsman. Uh, so uh, I, I, I thought I'd check it out anyway. I thought it was worth a shot. Like I said, game warden Joe Pickett is not, he wouldn't be played by Clint Eastwood back in his heyday. I don't know who he'd be played by. I mean, he's played by somebody, obviously, because there's a TV show. I just don't know who it is. But he really cares about his family first and foremost, and he really cares about his job. And he doesn't take any bribes. He doesn't let things slide. There's a kind of a gag at the beginning about how he uh, cited the governor of the state for fishing without a license because he didn't realize it was the governor. So people give him crap about that, and he has an incident right in the prologue of this that kind of sets up his. I hesitate to call it ineptitude, but just his trusting nature, and it's a real difficult situation he gets himself into at the beginning of this, and it kind of plays out over the whole of the novel. Anyway, the whole thing revolves around a dead man that ends up near his woodpile, and then he finds more murders out in the woods, and he um, he just kind of starts investigating, even though murder is a little bit out of his jurisdiction. He starts to investigate a little bit and ends up embroiled in this big scheme that involves an endangered species and a whole host of other things. I won't give anything away, but I want to say the first half or more of this novel was a little slow for me. It just kind of meandered through the story, through the plot, and there wasn't a real solid mystery to anything. You pretty much knew everything that went on. What was seemed to be pretty straightforward. Now some of it turns out a little differently in the end, but uh, it just seems a little slow, like a slow burn for the first half or more of the novel. And I didn't find it difficult to read though. I thought the prose was very readable and it was enjoyable to read. And I read it in like 2 afternoons. And it, so don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a well written book. And like I said, some of that slowness might have been because of the just kind of the subject matter of the book. It's not something that I'm real big on, the outdoorsy stuff, and that may have played a part in that. So I don't want to give it too critical of a look just because of that, because it could have just been partially me too. Uh, but I did think it was a little slow through the first half of it. Then business picks up. Things start to happen and he really gets in deep with this scheme that's going on involving the murders and the animals. And I also want to say that, like I said, he started out being kind of, he's not the best shot in the world. And he, like I said, he just isn't real quick on things. But in the latter half of the novel, and especially at the very end, all of a sudden he is really on top of things and he seems to be a crack shot at the end, which doesn't really give away anything, but I thought that was a little bit inconsistent for his character. He just seemed a little inconsistent because he wasn't very good at shooting, and then at the end all of a sudden he's mad so he can just do what he wants with a gun, and he is Clint Eastwood all of a sudden. uh, I thought that was a little inconsistent. uh, some of the other characters are consistent but really devious, but you don't really get that sense through the first part of the novel, and you just get some of the one character is set up to look like one person is doing something with the daughter, but it turns out to be somebody else, and it just seems a little out of character for that character because you didn't get any hints at all that this character was going to do the things he did. I don't want to say any more about it because I don't want to give anything away, but uh, I just want to say there was a little bit of inconsistency in the characterizations in it. Uh, I don't know what else much to say about it. I thought the ending was really good. It gave a satisfying conclusion to the story. The epilogue at the end just kind of gives you an overview of things that happen, and I thought it was a little abrupt, but it was still a satisfying read, and I would recommend reading it, especially if you're into the outdoors or hunting or anything like that. It definitely deals with stuff like that, and I think someone like that would be more enamored of the content of this book than I was. It was a good book. I'll give it that. It was very readable. I wanted to read it. I didn't want to put it down, even though, like I said, it felt a little slow for the first half. But I still enjoyed the book, and I may eventually read at least one more just to see what I think, to see where it goes, because I'm not sure what's going to happen next. Because I mean, how much trouble can a game warden get into? Uh, but apparently in Wyoming, a lot. The characters were authentic in terms of being from Wyoming, and that may have been a little bit of what I saw as inconsistencies. May have just been the nature of Wyoming people. I don't know, because he's from, the author's from Wyoming, and says that he wanted to make sure the characters were authentic to Wyoming. So it may just be a sense of a different culture than where I'm from. So it was a good book. I would recommend it. Like I said, I'll probably read at least one more and see where it goes. Uh, it's an interesting novel, and that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It wasn't my favorite thing I've read so far this year, which I know is still early in the year, but I don't think this will make my best of list if I do a best of list. But it was very well written, very readable, and and I do recommend it, especially to any outdoors people, if you're actually watching my show, which you probably aren't. So uh, I want to thank you for hanging out with me for one more week, and I will see you guys a week from now.